around, friends, new and old, and welcome to the POWWOW podcast. We are your hosts, Philip
and David.
It's been another week, and where I'm at, I feel like I'm living in the Netherlands. It's been haboob season and monsoon season where I'm at, and it's just been nonstop raining. Dude, it got ridiculous this past week. I had friends who woke up from thunder. I had myself had trouble sleeping because of the inclement weather. It's been crazy over here, David. How's life been over in the Netherlands?
Well, we had like half a week of summer, and now the rain is back. Today was actually like nice rain. It was like stormy rain, so that was okay. But yeah, this summer's been ridiculously meh, which is really disappointing. But I am fully vaccinated as of today. So in 2 weeks' time, my body will be ready for whatever. And, yep.
Diabetes, COVID,
hepatitis.
Crabs, no matter what it is, hepatitis, everything. It'll be ready because
it's all
of
in the Pfizer vaccine. Oh, I'm joking. I'm joking. What else? Oh, yeah, I had a thought today, actually. I finally figured out why I didn't love Nomadland as much as I could have. I did think it was amazing, but I finally figured it out. I'm taking you guys back several months now. It felt like watching a documentary. And I love documentaries, but don't sell me a movie and then give me what's almost a documentary. It had that sort of indie documentary vibe where it's sort of following a person through what they, how they live. That's why I think I didn't fall in love with it in the same way that I fell in love with Sound of Metal or The Father. So I had that thought earlier today, and I'm glad to share that with you guys today, as much as you may not give to hear it.
Yeah, wow, that is a blast from the past, and it really has sunk home for you that it should not have been Best Picture winner. You know what? Ironically, what I think now it's like a week or two old, but I did watch My Octopus Teacher, which you told me to that you recommended rather highly. You said it. You said it was a phenomenal film, and I must say I agree. I watched it. It was moving, man. It was moving.
And just like the imagery, the cinematography, and just gorgeous, breathtaking. And that's something that all the other documentaries lacked, so I was glad that it won.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of winners, let us win along as we merrily move.
This week we're talking about collections. Collectible items, all things that people like to collect, and we have a nice little plan. How would you outline? No, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
we have a nice little schedule, not schedule, a program for you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about the things that we collect, a lot of the things that we might want to collect if that was potentially possible in the future, in this wonderful future that we envision, where we are rich and successful, maybe.
That's such a beautiful visage.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about some things that other people collect, including some of our listeners, which we were very lucky to get some feedback through Instagram.
Now, the way that we have it, I'm hoping that we don't offend listeners with the current way we have it. But let's get started and see where we end up. All right. First thing, things that we collect. David, what is something that you collect? You collected? You are currently just starting to pick up to collect? What are things that you collect?
When I was living in just outside of London, I would take the train in and out of London all the time, or to other places, but almost exclusively from Guildford to London when I was at university in Guildford. And my ex-girlfriend was living in London, so I would go up very frequently. And every time I would get a little train ticket because there was no... in some countries, including the Netherlands, you have like a tap card that works for all public transport around the entire country. In the UK, that only applies to London. So if you're outside of London, you actually have to buy a ticket or have anyway. So I would get a little orange and yellowy looking train ticket every time, and I would keep them all, and I have them stacked in like a big chunky stack in a rubber band somewhere in like a box in my bedroom at my parents' house. But that's not so interesting. I keep all of my tickets for events, whether it be concerts or theater shows or sports matches. I like to keep the tickets. I like to, when I look back at it and I go, oh, that's cool. I remember that date. And then actually, when I went to the Rugby World Cup was in the UK while I was living there, and I went to several matches. And when you went to Twickenham, you would get these like reusable plastic cups. You'd pay a deposit, and then when you return them, you get your deposit back. And a lot of people would collect because people would just leave them would throw them on the ground. So there were people who would stay at the stadium afterwards and collect 20, and they would just make their money back on all the beers that they had. So I actually kept all of mine from the Rugby World Cup, and I actually scratched into the bottom of each one which game I got it from. So I have all of those. Wow. That's not it yet. I've got a couple more things that I like to collect, but I'm going to hand it off so it's not just me talking here.
Just to mix it up, yeah. I've got when I was younger, I used to have a hat collection, which wasn't like actual valuable hats. It was just different and unique hats. So whenever I went to, I don't even know, Disneyland, I think, I got both a Daffy Duck hat, which is the usual sailor, Navy hat, whatever that may be. And then I got a coonskin hat from Davy Crockett Land or whatever the hell that was. So I had those, sombreros. I had a couple of those, and of course normal hats. Maybe I don't even know, like a beanie from here or a straw hat from there, whatever it would be. It was always hats. I kind of grew out of that. I actually now collect hats. Ironically, if you watch the video, I always have the same hat, but that's more so a function of me moving around currently in my life than me actually utilizing a bunch of hats. Because I think, David, back when we lived in LA, you saw me utilize a bunch of hats whenever the occasion called for it.
And
so
I'm sure I ditto for me as well. Like I collect caps. I wouldn't say I collect them, but I like to have a set of them. I have one for every major sports team that I consider myself a fan of. I actually have one for every sporting team that I support, whether it be my club rugby team, my national rugby team, the LA Rams for when I moved to LA, and then every city that I'm connected to or country. Like I have one that says Zambia. I have one for LA. I have one for San Diego, two of my favorite cities. And yeah, something else I like to collect is lighters, even though I don't really smoke. I don't smoke at all, really. The weed on the occasion.
But do you candle?
I do sometimes candle, maybe. I love being the guy. Like I have one usually in my if it's winter and I have my jacket on me. I usually have one on the inside pocket of my jacket because I like being the guy who has a lighter.
Yeah, you have a lighter inside of your jacket, but we're
on
not
the inside
talking like
pocket.
But we're not talking like a Bix lighter. We're talking like a cigarette lighter.
Yeah, just a lighter.
Okay.
Not like one of those long ones that you used to light the barbecue. No.
That's what I imagine in my mind. I'm like, wow, that is next level to just be I've always wanted to be the guy with a
lighter. But I mean, like, if someone comes, as much as I do detest tobacco, if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey man, do you have a light?" I like being the guy who says, "Yeah, I've got one," and I can light whatever they happen to be smoking. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
Go on.
My other thing that I collect, and I tell me if this is a cop out, because I actually do think it's somewhat obsessive. So I think it is a thing I collect. I collect backups. This is probably something you've noticed of me, or you know of me if you have come into personal contact with me, is that I pretty much carry a backpack around everywhere because I don't like to be caught unprepared or unaware of a situation that I don't want. So like if I were to look at my backpack right now, I have a backup battery, both for my iPhone and for my laptop, like a portable one, which is, I've heard, crazy. I have a backup recording cord for everything, for all of my headphones and technological stuff. I have backups for like medicine. I have backups for, right now I have like an entire array of soaps and shampoos. Like I'm a person that I don't like to have a lot of stuff, but if it's the stuff that I will use and I will eventually go through, I need to have, for my own sanity of mind, I need to have a backup of it just because I need to. So it's a collection of backups, a constant backup. Assure me I'm not crazy. do that for me.
You might be a little crazy. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Yeah, that is a little obsessive, maybe a little paranoid. I don't know if it's crazy. It's just a little paranoid, maybe a little bit, maybe a little.
And you know what's crazy? I'm not even in the military. I know people who come from the military, and everybody gets preached. If you only have one, you have none. I love that message, although I don't know anybody in the military. Like I know one person from the military, but I don't have like an upbringing of this. Like my parents aren't like this. I'm the kid who went to school with a suitcase because I needed backups for everything. I even have my own box of tissues, man. Like not a regular little portable one. My own box of tissues because I just needed a backup just in case the teacher didn't have any.
Oh wow!
So that's my collection. I have a collection of backups.
Okay. I this is something I actually really do like to collect when I go places is shot glasses. I believe that a set of shot glasses should
I remember this. Yes,
either be all the same or all different. You can't have like 5 of us of like the same type of shot glass and then have like one from like one that's totally different and then another one that's totally different, and those are your 7 shot glasses. You either got to have a set that's like the same, or even better, a million times better, just a collection of widely different various shot glasses. I have one that has the South African rugby logo on it. I have one from a castle in Scotland. I have a Jack Daniel's shot glass which is metal and it's shaped like a barrel that I got the first time I went to LA. I got like some Game of Thrones shot glasses with the emblems from all like the houses of Game of Thrones in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got a lot of shot glasses.
Okay, so even within there, you're saying that you can have themed as long as it's all the same theme, but it's different because obviously the ones with the different houses.
Yeah, those are all there are 4 of them, and they're all kind of the same. They're part of a set, but in amongst like a dozen other shot glasses, which are all different, it's not so bad, you know.
But this is for a person. So if you go to somebody's house and they're like, "Hey, let's do some shots,"
everybody's gonna get a different shot glass. It's going to be just like some of them are smaller than the others, but like it's just I like it. I like having this like ridiculous collection of shot glasses.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Is that all you've got?
I got one weird one. Have you got one anymore?
I'm all out.
All right. This wasn't really a collection per se, but on the family farm in Zambia, we were out in the game farm and we had heard about this python. And
wait, the what kind of farm? I'm sorry?
Game farm, like game. Have you ever heard of game meat?
Oh.
You know what game is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're all wild ant. It's like literally you're not growing anything. It's just for wild ant. It's like a reserve. We heard we went to go see this python that had been found. The big python. Anyway, it was a living python. It had just eaten. It was like giant fat in the middle because it had eaten something. And we just looked at it from afar, enjoyed, and then we heard about this other dead python that was sort of like literally just like a line of bones on the ground, and we went to go see that as well. And it was like just like it had been there a long time, and I took 4 of the vertebrae from this python with the idea that I would take one of them maybe and like put it as a necklace, like you might wear a shark's tooth. I wanted to wear. I was like 10 years old. I wanted to wear a python vertebra around my neck. I thought that was really cool. I would be like Crocodile Dundee, right? But so we took them home, and only once they had been inside for a while. Like I think being out in the sun and dry made them not smell. But like when they were in the house and I like had put them in this jar, oh my God, they stank like you would not, but like rotting snake. And my mom would not let me. There are ways I think to like kill the smell of rotting whatever, but my mom would not let me. She just waited for me to be at school one day, and she took them and just threw them out. So I never got my python vertebra necklace. Yeah, sad day, but I had a collection of 4 vertebrae from a python.
I don't collect bones. I don't even think I ever had like a shark tooth. I had one. Like I went down to Mexico once. They did the normal touristy stuff, and I got like a shark tooth necklace. But I couldn't even. It's gone. It's long.
I've had several shark tooth necklaces, and the coolest ones are actually from ragged-toothed sharks. I don't think many people actually know of ragged-toothed sharks. I don't know. Maybe they do. But yeah, I've had a few. Those are the cool. They're like sort of skinny and pointy, so those are cool.
Things we would collect if we had more money and a place to store them. David, why don't you start us off with this?
I mean, I've always loved cars. So I would love to have like not an extensive collection, but just like a few really nice cars, like old cars though, like just beautiful, like a Jaguar. Listen to me, Jaguar E-Type, an E-Type Jag, a convertible one ideally. Yeah, I would love to have that, like refurbished maybe. You know what? It doesn't even have to be an original. If it was like specially made with like an electric motor, then it would be like environmentally friendly, and it would still look like an E-Type Jag. That would be the dream. Oh, look it up. If you don't know the car I'm talking about, look it up. It's just gorgeous.
That was my first thought. In my mind, I'm like, cars, wow. So we're throwing the environment completely out the window. But if you're trying to remodel,
yeah, I mean, like these cars are like, I mean, at the end of the day, I would love to have these cars and drive them on occasion, but there wouldn't be it wouldn't be something I would like. I'm big on the environment, so I would have a day car. You know, it would be something economical, like a VW, an electric VW or something.
You know what I would collect? I would collect championship rings. Right now, I have a couple of, what are those? Not. They're fake ones. They're not real. They're replicas. Thank you.
So I thought you only got those if you were part of the team.
Well, they're replicas.
Oh. But like you want to collect real ones?
I would like to collect real ones. I'd like, even if they're just like the announcer's Super Bowl ring, I would like to collect that. I always found it interesting to maybe have like, you know, what if I watched it? What if I really enjoyed a team and I watched it from start to end, or like historical teams, and then they have really cool Super Bowls? Like, did you see the most recent Super Bowl rings that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers unveiled? Have you seen this?
No.
It's ridiculous, David. It literally, it takes up like 2 fingers sizes. It's huge. It's huge, and it detaches. It's a ring. It detaches and gives you like a diagram of the stadium with which they played in, because they won.
Won flipping me off right now.
Half though, so it's only the good part. It's the first part, but it's a
That's
fantastic.
What she said.
So the first half, yes, but. I've always found that to be cool. I mean, I think that's a big reason why people are half enamored with the WWE, UFC, because the belts are so freaking cool, man. And whenever, like, it's not like a trophy, just like like a Tour de France. Like nobody goes out thinking, man, you know what I really want to collect is an Olympic gold medal. Like, you want to win one, sure, you want to win one, and if you're Michael Phelps, you want to collect them like that. But otherwise, nobody wants a replica of one, I think.
No, that's true. That's true.
Super Bowl ring, NBA championship ring. We're looking at like a WWE belt, a UFC belt, yada, yada, yada. Those are freaking cool, man. I would collect those if I could. Like,
I have
maybe not.
I have a tiny replica.
Maybe even a mustard belt. Ooh.
I have a tiny replica of the FIFA World Cup. You know the one I'm talking about? The gold, like dildo looking thing.
Yeah. Looks like Jeff Bezos is a rocket.
Oh, yes, it does. It actually does. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. What's the next section, Phil? You gotta lead us into this.
I found a list of some of the stupidest things people collect. I found this online, and I just want us to both go and give our opinions on it. Not too many of them. They can be quick thoughts. They can be long thoughts. If you happen to think that this is stupid or not, we will be the final judges on this. Let us begin on something easy. Beer mugs. Beer mugs. Do we think beer mugs is something stupid, smart, or to collect?
If you have the cupboard space to store several beer mugs, go for it, man. I have several. Oh, I had several. I'm pretty sure I've had to give them away in the many moves that I've made in my life. Since I turned 18 and started collecting beer mugs. But yeah, I've had several, and I've had to just give them away, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it feels like this would fall under the shot glass thing for you, where as long as there's unique and a story to it.
Right, yeah, but the shot glasses are a little easier to transport.
Sure, absolutely. For me, as somebody who doesn't drink, I would think of it as dumb, but to each their own.
But you can put anything in there.
Yeah, you can, but I feel ridiculous. Well, okay. Sometimes I feel pretty cool just pouring a nice Arizona iced tea inside of a beer mug and just drinking from it. I can get that. I can
and
get
they
the
have
appeal.
like a handle, so yeah, I like that, man. I beer mugs. I get the thumbs up for that.
So you say yay, I'll say meh. I'll say meh at best. You convinced me to a meh. I was gonna say no. Do not disturb signs from hotels. People apparently go and instead of getting a receipt or something to just commemorate the hotel that they went to, they just take the do not disturb sign. Do we think yay, nay, or meh?
I guess meh. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really see why, but I guess, like, for some people it might be kind of fun. I don't know. Nah, meh.
I'm going to go nay, and here's why. I think if you're actively going out, you probably have a reward system, meaning that you go to, I don't know, every best Western out there that you can find, or if you're going international, maybe like a Marriott everywhere. I don't know, where the Five Seasons, whatever it may be.
I agree. Like, I think it's dumb, actually. Like, what are you going to do with those? Yeah. What are you actually going to do with those? They're just going to sit somewhere collecting dust, so nah.
At best, you're going to laminate them, and I still feel it's stupid. So
nope,
we're going to go, we're collectively going nay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one, rubber duckies. Apparently people collect rubber duckies, and maybe they're inspired by Sesame Street. I don't know. Do we think yay, nay, or meh?
Nay.
You're at a nay. I'm actually, you know what? I'm at a yay, and here's why. Because some of these rubber duckies, they got personality. And if I can't dig on... Oh, yeah. There's like Firehouse Duck. There's Big Bird Duck. There's Cookie Monster Duck. There's Baker Duck. There's, some of them, they all float. And that's something that you could actively pass along to your children, at least when they're younger. You can just be like, here, play with the first rubber ducky that I ever collected. It can be sweet. You know what? You can't do that with lawn gnomes, David. All right.
Moving on.
So we got a yay from me, a nay from you.
Yeah.
All right. Second to last one here. And this is a weird one. I had to figure out what they meant by this. But a list of the stupidest things people collect, Santa Claus. So it's from Santa Claus wind-up toys, and Christmas tree ornaments to Santa Claus coffee mugs, pillows, candles, blankets, sweaters, lawn ornaments, wine glasses, light fixtures. The list goes on to infinity. Do we think people collecting Santa Claus paraphernalia, is it stupid? Is it yay? Is it meh?
I think it's I'm not going to say yay. I'm going to say sure. As long as the stuff gets stored and then it comes out in like at the earliest, if you're American, after Thanksgiving. If you're not American, then like beginning of December, and then goes away by the 5th of January. Because otherwise, then it's weird.
The 5th of January. That's very generous of you. 5th of January. That's
I think,
like
what is it, like 5th or 6th of January, traditionally speaking, is the Three Kings. If you celebrate that. Some European countries celebrate that even more than Christmas. I think in Spain, that's big. And yeah, and in Germany. So lots of countries celebrate the Three Kings. And that's traditionally the last day of Christmas. So it's like 12 days after Christmas. So I think it's like the 6th of January. I don't know. I could do the math right now, but if you know, you know. But that's traditionally when you're supposed to take down your decorations because that's the end of Christmas.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will go meh. I love Christmas. I don't actually collect a lot of Christmas ornaments. I like to keep the spirit inside of me, mostly because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. So I don't really decorate. It doesn't really fill me or fulfill me with joy. Yeah, thank you. But Santa Claus specifically doesn't
fill you.
Doesn't resonate.
Santa Claus doesn't fill you up.
No, I can't say the jolly red giant doesn't fill me up. No, but I think of Christmas more as a feeling than I do associated with Santa Claus. Whenever I think of Santa Claus, I just think of Coca-Cola. Okay. I'm gonna go with nay, just because it's kind of weird that you're
sure,
quote unquote, idolizing a big fat dude. And then our last one here, and I would be surprised if you had any answer other than what I think it's going to be. Nazi memorabilia.
Oh,
Yes, people collect war-worn things, of course.
Look, I think that there's something to be said for putting that stuff in a museum, as just tokens of history.
You ever see Rat Race?
But if you
the movie Rat Race,
yeah, a long time ago.
if you remember, there is a Nazi museum, and it is one of the funniest pieces of comedy.
I need to rewatch that movie, I think. But have you seen
anyways,
have you seen the Netflix? I don't know. It's on Netflix here, but it's The People versus O.J. Simpson with David Schwimmer starring as Rob Kardashian. Yeah. There's that guy, that police officer who's like got like a whole Nazi thing in his house.
Collection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that I mean, of course, nay. But in a museum, like I think that kind of stuff needs to be preserved just as a reminder, you know. But as a personal collection, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like I do think that there's something to be said for keeping an old German officer's uniform from World War II if it was like maybe your great grandfather's. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping that, but if you're actively seeking to collect these things, that's not okay in my books. But
yeah, same. If you are doing it for what it stands for rather than perhaps some historical context that goes beyond, you know, great grandpa wore this and he died in this, and that's it. That's the only reason why. But beyond that, no Nazis. No Nazis. All right, go ahead. Things that listeners have said that they collected. What are some of the people that what have we got?
All right, so we had a few responses. This one comes at you guys from Coral. We have talked about Coral a lot on this podcast. She's a favorite of ours.
Hey, Coral.
One time, my mom gave me a box from my dead Gigi, and it had her teeth collection in it. They were almost all adult molars mixed in with old coins and thimbles. And if you saw the story that I posted, it was a joke about, you know, I said, what kind of things do you guys collect? Is it like what did I say? I can't even remember now. Something like simple, like stamps, something, or human teeth. That was a joke. But apparently, Coral, you've got a collection of human teeth. If you still have it, I don't know, but very interesting.
I wonder though, is it Gigi's teeth specifically, or is it?
I don't know.
The victims was she a dentist? I'm hoping she was a dentist.
Yeah,
if it's not her personal teeth.
Coral, let us know. We're curious about that. We got a lot of weird responses to this. Chrissy, this one came from Chrissy. I have a giant collection of creepy China dolls from when I was a kid. My mom used to collect little blue bottles and tell us they had evil spirits in them so we wouldn't touch them. I mean, smart thinking, Mom, but yeah, the creepy China dolls. These are all straight out of horror movies, man.
Yeah, my grandma and my mom, they have this like it's a smaller collection, but they have a collection of these dolls that are just nightmarish. Absolutely nightmarish. They will seep into your mind into the dark recesses and scare the living daylights out of you.
Yeah. This one comes from Beth. Hi, Beth.
Hey, Beth.
License plates. I sincerely hope, Beth, that these license plates weren't attached to currently registered vehicles. But yeah, that's a cool one. I think license plates is a really cool one. That one's not so creepy.
Yes.
Yeah, and this next one comes from B, someone you know, Phil, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Handbags, crystals, and a list of those who've wronged me. There's a knife emojis and hand knit dolls.
And hand knit dolls. Yes, I wonder if that has anything to do with it. The bags, though, I can attest, very expensive tastes. Very expensive tastes. Yes, we're talking. Yeah, we're not talking Gucci. We're talking Louis.
Good for you. Good for you, B. This one comes from Steph. She just said, yeah, human teeth. Got a full set so far.
So far. Maybe have two by the time you get caught.
Right. I'm guessing that was a little play on the fact that obviously she has a full set of her own teeth, Okay.
That too.
Scotty H. Hope you're listening. U.S. coins. That's cool, actually. I for a time I had like a huge collection of quarters. I wanted one from every year, and then eventually I gave up. So I'm actually curious. I wish Scott. I wish you'd let us know a little bit more about that. I'd be curious to know what kind of stuff.
I actually used to work for a coin collector.
Really?
Yeah. I used to ship in and out coin inventories, and I could tell you the difference between a D and a P and an unmarked coin minted for at least U.S. And then of course we did have a foreign section, but there was not a big market in the United States for it. But yeah.
Well, Scott, if you happen to be listening, then DM us to let us know a little bit more about your coin collection. I'm curious.
Absolutely.
And this last one comes from Rosa. Hi, Rosa. She says she collects magnets. I have too many pictures and stuff I want to hang on to my fridge, so she always collects souvenir magnets. That was That was one that I expected to get. That's a good one, I think.
That is. I was going to say that's out of all of them, they all have their merits. I like them all, but if I had to rank number one that I like, that I would potentially do, magnets. Actually, I think that's really cool because that goes along with my mind of functionality meets collectability. Because I love functionality and I love magnets. Like I have those clip tie ones that you can put on like the end of potato chips if you haven't finished them, and then they also serve the purpose of being a magnet. So I love functionality, and I think it's really cool that you could go around and get magnets that really mean something to you, that also decorates your fridge. The only thing I'd worry about is that it can become tacky. It can become grandma who wears plastic on her couch.
But I like a fridge
at a certain point.
I like a fridge full of things. Like I think fridges should have things on them.
You like a characteristic, a fridge full of character?
Yeah, absolutely. So good for you, Rosa. And happy magnets for you.
Happy magnets. Hope your collection sticks. All right, we move forward to our mini seg of the week.
For our mini segment of the week, this week we are back around to Would You. This is a fun one where it can be anything, any sort of would you question. Could be a would you rather or just a would you. Phil, would you like to start?
I would love to start. David, if you could be guaranteed no pain and no issue with the transformation as well as no recovery time, would you biologically change your body to be a female for a year?
And I can return back to how I am at... Yeah.
Exactly the way.
I think I would. I think that would be the ultimate just test of like just the ultimate experiment of what the differences are like biologically. Because as you know, I think that there's no medical operation that can actually perfectly mimic that. So yeah, I think that would be very interesting. I think that would be and then after a year I can go back to being who I am. So yes, absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic. Your turn.
All right, Phil, would you fake your own death for a year? Again, for a year. How funny is that? Just to escape from society for a while and like disconnect and not have to worry about being on the grid. There's no consequences when you come back. You just get to like just run away from responsibility. You still have to like feed yourself, obviously, but you get to be legally dead for a year.
I don't think I could do that. The ability that, in order to do that, I think I'd lose a lot of trust with a couple people. People that I mean, you'd have to have a really good reason to fake your death. Like if you're trying to escape the law or something, okay. If you're trying to, like, at least I get it. Whether or not you told me, then that's another issue. But if I'm thinking along the lines of like, just for the pure speculation to just get off the grid and to relax, I guess, myself. One, I don't know how I would get an income to survive anyways. But two, I would miss a lot of my...
become a lumberjack in like Montana or something like that.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I'm even if I were to just think of you, Hoffman, you're telling me you would not be pissed that we put POWWOW on hold for an entire year just because I wanted to be a lumberjack in Minnesota? That would
look. Okay,
that would
what if you can leave a note for your loved ones saying like, I'm still alive. Don't worry, I'll be back in a year.
Doesn't that somewhat defeat the purpose?
No, because society doesn't know you're alive.
Okay. All right.
Wouldn't you want to go to your own funeral? like Huckleberry Finn?
No, I get the reference.
Which one? Is it Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn?
It's both of them. It's
both of them, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, they both quote unquote die. But anyways, no, I don't think I would. Between the harm and damage it would do to my family, and then of course some of the trust I would lose. But even if I don't think it's worth it, I very much am on the grid. We differ on this opinion on whether or not we should even frickin' do a live remote eventually in the future from POWWOW live from the woods versus us
it
not.
Should be like a twice a year thing that we do, that we take a guest and we go camping with them and we record from within an RV out in the wilderness somewhere.
Oh, yeah. It does mean that I have to do a lot more work, but it's worth it in this instance.
How is it?
No.
However long this podcast lasts, I will convince you to do this. This is something that's going to happen.
Read my lips, hear me roar. I am man and I snore. No.
It's a camping themed podcast, Phil.
For this season, and I say
no
to
way.
The no.
We may change a few things here and there, but we're keeping the theme, man. The theme's too strong.
I will eat camp food. I will go there, but as far as like sleeping there and then spending more than like an hour or two,
you can fucking sleep in the RV.
No. All right. That was it for Would You?
God damn. Oh.
And it was a no. Oh, good Lord. All right. On to once more. David, I don't know if you know this, but it is our 25th episode this week. We have made it, my friend.
I know. That's like half a year.
Jesus, you're right. And we've actually been consistent. I got to tell you, being honest, pulling the curtain back, I swear to God, there were a couple weeks I wanted to text you. There was one week that we were late. We'll go with that. But there were weeks I wanted to text you, just be like, man, can't do it this week. Don't feel like it, can't make it, or just too much. And
yeah, there's been a couple weeks for that, like that for me as well. But yeah, we've been really disciplined. Like we did take 1 week off, but we even left you guys just with a That Slaps that week. And then there was 1 week where we did a shortened episode for Phil's unapproved vacation, his rogue vacation that he decided to take, which he dropped on me. He was like, "Oh, by the way, the next week we're not doing because I'm going to be on vacation." And I was like, hello.
And we
are business partners here.
Yes, I know. And we're at least having one more missing episode. We will break the streak here come in October because I will be moving and I will be far more focused on moving across
host
country.
The podcast on my own for that period.
I'll just
have to have a guest on. But then I would have to. You'd have to give me the login because Phil's the one who posts the podcast. So I don't know how I would have to get the login and all the instructions on how to.
You could. Yeah, I was gonna say you could edit. We'll talk about this afterwards, but
okay.
you could edit and I would post it for you. That's not too terribly hard. Anyways,
gotcha.
But yes, a quarter of 100. It's a rather monumentous occasion for both of us. We're both excited. Yes. So we decided that for this once more of a very special occasion, we'd come up with a couple of quarter questions, meaning we will ask each other questions about the podcast and give each other 4 options, but the other person's only able to pick one, and either we'll want to pick all 4 or we won't want to pick any, but we got to pick one. So, shall I start us off here, David?
Yeah, please.
Because I love chaos, I wanted to ask you, David, which of our 25 episodes would you say is the least best? We've got Super Weekend, of course, our inaugural episode, the one where we talked about the Super Bowl. It's a bit rusty in hindsight, but it's not too bad.
It was our
the
first go at things.
Our first go, yes. The Oscar Spectacular, of course, where we unabashedly and unashamedly went on for what felt like 2 hours and just went on a drugging, expanding binge of all the categories just to end up with Nomadland, ironically, winning it all. Three, state our opinion. Of course, the infomercial of why Puerto Rico should be a state. And then who are you wearing? And I swear to God, I put it in here because I could not for the life of me remember what this episode was about.
We talked about celebrities. It was our red carpet episode.
Oh, that's right.
That was I had fun that one. That was good. Honestly, none of these I would say were really my least favorite. I think Super Weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you have a least favorite that's not on here?
I have a couple that I didn't like back when we recorded them, and once it's recorded and you're done, and you got to put something out for the week. That's it.
Right.
Our very second episode, I believe. Okay, Super Weekend. Yes, it was rough. Our second episode, January Blues and the February Twos. That one was a little we came on to do a podcast about depression in winter, so that was probably not the best move. Too Soon, Bro, where we talked about things being too soon. That one felt a little incoherent to me and a little all over the place. And then more recently, I didn't feel like I had a lot to say when we did our charity episode. What was that called again? Give and No Take.
Give and No Take.
I don't. That one wasn't as bad as January Blues and the February Twos, but for me, but I just feel like I didn't feel very coherent that week. I didn't feel like I had a lot of valuable opinions or thoughts. Of the four that you mentioned, can you just say the titles again?
Yeah, Super Weekend, The Oscar Spectacular, State Our Opinion, and Who Are You Wearing?
I guess I might have to say Super Weekend. But we had just started. I was nervous actually. I haven't been nervous since from the very second episode on. I haven't been nervous, but that week I was nervous. I would have to say that one. The rest of them I actually like. The Oscar Spectacular, I'm not apologizing for that because I had so much fun talking about that. And then I
agree. I actually we both knew we'd only get one listener who was equally as excited as us, but it was a self-serving episode.
Absolutely. And I felt like we had to do it. But even the Super Weekend I liked. So, I'm not going to, but if I had to pick one of those four, I guess it would be the first one because it was pretty rusty.
Fair enough. Your turn.
If POWWOW was invited to host all of these events happening at the same time, you had to choose one, which would you choose?
Okay.
The inauguration of future U.S. President-elect Jonah Hill. The 100th Oscars, which is probably I think happening in 6 or 7 years. I think we just had the 93rd, but I could be wrong about that. The opening ceremony of the Los Angeles Olympic Games.
Okay.
And the grand opening of the first In-N-Out on Mars.
Oh, wow. Wow, you really did rank them in order, I think, too. Because here's my thing. I had up until the last part, I had us doing the Olympics. As much fun as the others are, I think being the first podcast to host an Olympics, that would be historical. That would be so American, but that would be historical. And we would be a page note in history. World history.
I mean, also if we were to host, inaugurations don't have a host, but to host the inauguration of Jonah Hill, that would also be.
Well, everybody remembers the poet who did the Bidens. So I
wouldn't by any means compare us to her though.
No. She's fantastic and phenomenal.
Fell in love.
But I would go. I have to. I don't know how I could possibly not go with the first In-N-Out. Well, actually, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna stick to the Olympics, and here's why. If we are at a point where In-N-Out is on Mars. In-N-Out's not doing this unless they can generate business. So that means that we have to have already landed on Mars. So it's not as novel an idea as one might initially think. So as cool as that sounds now, I think still for history's sake, the Olympics in LA would be our ticket to history.
Sure. Also, I think we're going to be long dead by the time there's an In-N-Out on Mars. But anyway, okay, over to your next question.
Long dead. All right, my last question here. By episode 50, David, by episode 50, do you think POWWOW will A, have 50% more listeners, B, have 50% less listeners, C, have a punishment set for the loser of our Game of the Week segment, or D, we will have a POWWOW tell-all autobiography written of how the greatest duo ever split up after a meteoric rise to fame and superstar differences split us up. Which of those four is the most likely?
I don't think anything could split us up at this point. What was the third? Whoa, the punishment. Nope, don't think that'll have happened yet.
I still get DMs about that. Hey, so what? Love the games,
what's the punishment?
Going for anything? Yeah, what's the punishment?
We have talked about skydiving. Maybe so the loser has to skydive.
I think that's the one that's gaining. That's the one that's gaining
a lot
of
most traction. Yeah. It seems like something that's fair, but also like a little freaky, but not like I'm not into the public shaming thing. I'm gonna say 50% more listeners. Although you know what, I think that's modest. I think we have it in us to get more than that. I thought you were gonna ask if we would have recorded an episode in the same room together by that point, and I would have said no. By that point, I wouldn't have picked that option. But I think 50% more listeners, and let's shoot for above and beyond that.
Above and beyond. All right, your last question here.
Okay, this is an interesting one as well. If you could record POWWOW at one of these locations, which would you choose?
Okay.
All right, number one, on Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin spacecraft in space, in Kim Jong-un's living room at his residence in Pyongyang, at a research station in Antarctica, or inside an open and operating, as in it's currently operating, sex club. So there's like people doing all sorts of nasties all around.
Are we talking European sex club? So it's actual engagement?
Yeah, like a sex club. Yes.
Okay. I
like people go there and they like do things with all sorts of people, strangers or just their partner. It's like a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, the lowest one on the totem pole is the Kim Jong-un's apartment. As fun as that may sound.
Last I checked, it's not quite an apartment. It's more like
a suite.
It's a little larger than that.
Fair enough. I would be afraid of us either offending him and being in his place and his rules, yada yada yada. So that would be my last one. I forget what the third one was, but
a research station in Antarctica.
Yeah, no, I like to be cold more than I do hot, but that doesn't mean I want to be freezing. I've been freezing once, the coldest I've ever been. I felt it in my bones. That was so crazy. I'm not a big fan of that. But coming in second is your last option. What was your last option? Now
sex club.
Sex club.
You forgot the sex club.
I forgot the sex club. The first rule about sex club is you don't remember about sex club.
Okay.
And I mean, as fun as those breaks in between segments would be, I'm sure. It is a podcast, so we can do it in as many takes as necessary. I think our first one has to be broadcasting live from the penis ship. Not the mothership, the penis ship, I think is pretty cool. Now, of course, they didn't get into space with this launch. I hate that they said that. Neither one of them got into space. You don't get into space until you need a heat blast door to come back down into orbit. That's my personal thought. So as long as it's in an actual space.
Yeah, sure. Also, there's an interview with Jeff Bezos. They're like, you're an astronaut now. You are not a fucking astronaut, okay? You
No.
you know that chimpanzee that's been to space? That chimpanzee is way more of an astronaut, and I'm not even kidding, way more of an astronaut than Jeff Bezos, because at least he went up there for science, not to flaunt it like, oh, I'm going to space because I can afford it.
I'm curious, and this was not planned at all, but how would you describe Jeff Bezos' trip into quote unquote space? Inspiring, depressing, or meh?
Depressing.
Depressing.
I think
it's so weird.
If in like 40 years time we are at a place where like people are not hungry, the environment is safe, and like then maybe recreational trips to space are viable and okay. But right now there's just so much that needs fixing, and like spending billions to have a recreational flight to space is just dumb.
That was our once more 25 episodes in. We are still being controversial to the end with our penis rockets in the sex club. Let us go on to the game.
The time has come to play a little game, and as always, we have a guest here to join us for our game. This guest is a wonderful friend of mine whom I have worked with, whom I've worked with again, and worked with again, because she is an absolute joy to work with, and she's a wonderful person to just talk with. My absolute favorite, Gabby. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I also love working with you and Philip, who I've also worked with, and I'm super excited to be here because I've been listening to the podcast, and I get really jealous when people play games and I'm not invited.
You were invited weeks ago, but you were busy because you were working where were you? You were in Alabama or something?
I was in Alabama making a movie. Yeah.
And for those
making a movie. For those who don't know, Gabby, you are located still in LA, correct?
I am.
Normally
in Los Angeles.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. So that is Alabama. Quite a drive. But yes, Gabby, we have worked together, and David, I believe we have that simmering as one of our main topics in the future.
It's coming up.
It's boiling. It's ready to.
We might have to have a jumbo episode where we just have a bunch of guests on.
Ooh, yes. Speaking of simmering. All right. Gabby, since you are a frequent listener, which one we appreciate, but two, you would be familiar with the idea that we have a game. Of course, if you were to lose to either one of us today, there is no punishment for that to happen. But if either one of us were to win, if I win, that would be fantastic. If David wins, it would be a travesty. The game, of course, today is the collection game. To go along with our main topic, the idea is that one of us will give the others items within a collection of a specific genre, and the thing is that these items could mean or belong to multiple categories, but the further down the list, the more specified you will find out which particular category the person listing them wants them to be. So, for me at least, you will buzz in with your name. Name is your buzzer, and if you mess up, you give the other person carte blanche in order to get their carte blanche. I think I said that incorrectly.
Your carte blanche.
That one too.
There's no la.
No,
you're just extra Frenching it right now. But no, there's no la in there.
Yeah, David, I'm
just Matt LeBlanc's cousin.
Yes. Yeah. See, David, I'm trying to impress Gabby because I was able to tell her about her last name being French, and so I was like, anyways.
Well, I do want to say I'm so glad I let you explain all that.
Yes.
But we would be remiss if we did not first introduce Gabby a little bit to the listeners by asking her a few questions. Am I wrong, Philip?
No, you are correct, David. I believe we get 3 questions for you, Gabby. I get 2 of those. So I will begin by asking you, Gabby, what is the worst household chore you, I guess, don't like to do?
I'm going to have to say laundry, which I refer to as Mount Laundry, because by the time I get to it, it's usually a giant mountain in the corner of my bedroom. And I usually end up having to do like 6 loads all in one day back to back since I share a laundry room with the other people in my building. So I try to get it where I have to do it all back to back, but then oftentimes I forget that I put the laundry in, and about 2 hours will go by, and then I'll realize that I need to switch it, and then it'll be quite late, and I'll be folding all of my laundry so that it doesn't get further mixed up with new dirty laundry.
I see. It seems to
Look
be
at you coming on our podcast and just talking about your dirty laundry. Gabby, my question, you are an actress as well as a filmmaker and a writer and etc. But as an actress, what movie do you think Hollywood was gravely mistaken in not casting you?
I think they should have cast me as Lara Croft in the new Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I feel like
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's actually good self-awareness too. I could see you in that role. Like, you didn't say, "Oh, I could be Vito Corleone," or something. No. You went to Lara Croft. Very nice. All right. I realize and acknowledge that you are an actor and a director and a writer. It sounds like from what David just said. But what is an exotic job that you think that you would be unusually good at? If you need suggestions, we could say like a lobster hunter, say a dentist, we could say a rug salesman. What on earth? Or maybe a toupee salesman?
I think I would be really good at naming paint colors. Like, when you go to Home Depot and you get like a paint swatch.
Yeah.
I think I would be really good at choosing names for the specific colors.
Oh, choosing names. Okay, that's very good.
Yeah, like winter's foggy mist or something.
Now, does one need to smell or taste the paint in order to really get in touch with the paint, or do you just take a look at it and that's all that's necessary?
I don't think that a smell or taste is needed. I think it's kind of just like the feeling.
Smell the same.
A feeling. Okay, cool. Listen, I don't get in between an artist and her craft, David. I just wanted to establish a connection.
Okay. Keep your panties off fire.
Yeah. Well, there's a color for you, anyways. All right. I explained the game. The one thing left to say is that the odd and rare occasion of me winning a game has occurred. Yes, look outside your window for the apocalypse. It is now. And because of that, I have a skipping stone. Thus, if I so choose later on, whenever I am playing against Gabby, I will have the ability to skip a category should I choose, should I feel like it, yada, yada, yada. All right. David, who would you care to go first?
Why don't you do your game first, Phil?
I would be honored. Gabby, David, let us begin. I have the first collection. Again, name is your buzzer, so hopefully say your own name, and we will go to you. If you fail and miss miserably, the other person will have the ability to steal it. If they then mess up, all's fair in love and Mount Laundry, I suppose. Let us begin. First.
Wait, so hold on.
Oh,
Just so I understand, because I don't actually feel like I know.
Yes.
It's like items that are in a category.
Yes.
You have to guess the category.
So, for instance, if I were to say, let me think about this. If I were to say,
like pizza, calzone, spaghetti, the category is Italian food.
Italian food. But if I were to say pizza, spaghetti, what would that be? Shrimp ravioli, unlimited breadsticks. Then you'd say, "Oh yes,
Olive Garden."
Yes, Olive Garden. And if somebody were to say Italian dinner, you'd be like, "Well, I don't think that's necessarily the thing. You're incorrect." And then once you get to the unlimited breadstick,
at a certain point, there might be multiple correct answers, and you just have to keep going until someone lands on what the quizmaster intended for the answer to be. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. First one. Dolly Parton, Whitney Houston, Beyonce, Adele, Aretha Franklin,
David. Top female vocalists?
I am going to give it to you. I put female superstar singers, but that will do as well. David, you are on the board with your first point. We move along to our next collection. IKEA, Home Depot, Lowe's, Dick's, Walmart, Target.
Gabby.
Gabby.
Capitalist monopoly conglomerates.
You know what? I don't. This is interesting. Could you be less specific? I think that I've never had to give that answer, but could you be less specific?
I'm sure I could always be less specific.
Oh, did the listeners hear me chuckle when you said dicks? Am I that much of a child?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
And I put a comment next to it saying, if David doesn't laugh here, I quit the podcast.
Super centers.
That'll work. I put big box stores. But you were definitely in the realm there. Anyways, all right, we are tied going into our last category here. And I'm actually I had no idea who David had brought along here, so I was worried, but I'm very glad it was you, Gabby. I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that, but I'm very glad it was you. Here we go. Django Unchained. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
David. Quentin Tarantino movies.
No. That is incorrect. Gabby, it is yours for the stealing. The Departed. Inception.
Okay, it's Gabby says it is movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, it is. Gabby, you didn't fall for the pit of doom. God bless you.
I thought I was being smart by getting in quick.
Oh,
man.
I thought if I could pair the two. God bless you, Gabby. You have achieved all that is necessary this week. You can go on to Burger King and feed all the cats you want this week with my blessing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. All right. David, I pass the baton off to you.
Wait, you only had 3 questions?
How many did you have?
I've got 5.
You've got 5.
Actually, I've got 6.
Oh.
All right, we're just going to play an expanded game here, I guess.
All right, I love it.
Oh, man, I thought I had a shot there. I thought I still had a shot. Okay. All right, here is my collection game. Question 1. Mini, touch, video, nano,
Gabby.
classic. Yes, Gabby.
It is versions of the iPod.
Exactly correct.
Nice.
You get a point. And we move on to the second question. This one's a tough one. China, Japan, USA.
Philip, teams.
Go for Philip.
Teams in the Olympics.
Not quite.
Damn it.
South Korea. And that's it. Phil, you do have a skipping stone.
I do, but I'm not going to use it because I don't think Gabby knows what the hell you're talking about either.
I'll say you were close.
Is it teams that have hosted the Olympics recently or are currently hosting?
No.
I have no idea. The only thing I could think of left is I couldn't even tell you, but I think it's teams within a specific category of the Olympics, but I don't know. Teams with the biggest Olympic team rosters?
No, that is not correct. Might be, but that's not what I'm looking for.
I think
any other guesses? Gabby, we go to you. You have one more guess to match Phil.
Teams that have already won a gold medal in the current Olympics.
All right. The correct answer was countries who currently have multiple Olympic golds at the Olympics. It's really close, but because I stopped at South Korea and I didn't list all the ones with 1 gold medal, I'm not going to give you the point, Gabby. So, no points on that question. We move on. A Clash of Kings. A Storm of Swords.
Gabby.
Gabby?
It is titles of the books from the Game of Thrones series.
I will accept that. The series is called The Song of Ice and Fire. I omitted, obviously, the first book, which is called A Game of Thrones, because that would give it away. But yes, a point to you, Gabby. That you're at 2 points. Phil, you still got a shot. And you do have your skipping stone, obviously.
I do have my skipping stone.
All right.
Should have used it there.
The next question is David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, Florence Pugh,
Philip.
Olga. Yes.
What are? Oh, well, I guess I don't need to do it in the form of a question.
Not Jeopardy.
I know. The character. What is this? Actors in the movie Black Widow.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Phil, you get a point. It is 2-1. We move on to the next question.
Okay,
Reminder, Phil, you do still have a skipping stone.
I do.
John Galecki, Jim Parsons, Simon Helberg.
Skip.
Gabby.
Oh, he chose to skip. Gabby, did you have it?
People who are actors in the Big Bang Theory.
That would have been correct, and you would have won. But Phil used his skipping stone just in the nick of time.
I honestly had no clue. The John Parsons one, I was like, I think I know this.
Jim Parsons.
Oh, see there,
Parsons.
John Parsons. Aren't they a band? The John Parsons Experience. I don't even know. Anyways, thank God I skipped.
Alan Parsons.
Oh yes, the Alan Parsons Project. Yes. See, there's so many
is
Parsons.
it Alan or Adam? Adam Parsons? No, I don't know. We go to our 6th bonus question, skip question. Here we go. Stranger Things, Better Call Saul, Black Mirror,
Philip?
Ozark. Yes, Philip.
TV shows currently found on Netflix available to stream?
No.
God damn it.
The Punisher,
Oh.
Space Force, The Politician, The Queen's Gambit, Daredevil, Peaky Blinders. I can keep going, but I'd have to find more. I only have 10 here. Any guesses, Gabby? It goes to you.
Interesting. I'm going to say, I'm not certain about all of them, but maybe it is. Wait, can I hear the list again?
Yes. Okay. Stranger Things, Better Call Saul, Black Mirror, Ozark, The Punisher, Space Force, The Politician, The Queen's Gambit, Daredevil, and Peaky Blinders.
They are all Netflix original series?
They are all Netflix originals.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, Better Call Saul is a AMC property.
It was licensed to Netflix. Netflix produced it. They had an agreement with AMC that they would be able to broadcast it, but it is a Netflix original series.
I'm over here beating a very dead horse.
Do you want to look it up
No, I believe you and I believe your research. I'm just frustrated, but it is all right. I am humbly bowing to you, Gabby. Very nicely done. Gabby, were you equally confused as me with that?
No, I mean, I knew they were all on Netflix, but then I thought it might be something more specific because when I heard like a couple of things that are Ryan Murphy productions, and then a couple of them both had Anna Taylor-Joy, I thought, oh, maybe they'll had her. But then I thought, no, it's too broad because I've seen The Punisher and I knew neither of those people were involved in that. So that's so I knew.
See, that was my reaction was I was thinking in my head, man, all these are Netflix original series. And then he said Better Call Saul. I'm like, it's not that. What on earth? I'm trying to think of the cast list. But either way, congratulations, Gabby. I am a very competitive person, but not a sore loser. Congratulations. At least you did not let David win. God bless you for that. We appreciate you coming on here. Did you have anything that you wanted to plug with our last few minutes with you?
Sure. You can check out my original short film. Oh, what?
We are going to go to a tiebreaker because Better Call Saul, it seems like there's a gray area here. I want this to be fair. So I want to go to a tiebreaker. Just because I do think I don't want there to be any questions. I don't want DMs coming in tomorrow, or not tomorrow, later in the week when the episode airs, because it is property of AMC, Sony Pictures. Netflix was it says here, Netflix was one of the many interested distributors, but ultimately a deal was made between AMC and Breaking Bad production company, Sony Pictures Television. So I'm going to give that to you, Phil.
All right.
And we're going to go to a tiebreaker.
Gabby.
All right. Are you ready?
I hope you don't think I'm doing a Russian doping scandal or something should I win. So I apologize in advance. I had no control over this to rob you of a victory. But here we go. Let's go to the tiebreaker.
Okay. I apologize, Gabby. That's my fault. But All right, this tiebreaker comes from last week because why come up with a new one when you never used last week's? Closest to the actual number wins. Fight Club's box office gross was blank. And we will go to you first, Phil, because
I
forced the tie.
Forced the tie.
And let me just be clear. This is closest, not closest without going over, because I think that's dumb.
Let us see. If it's closest, I think it was more of a cult. So I think that a lot of it's going to be DVD sales. So I'm going to go with a nice even 500 million.
Okay. Gabby.
I don't know. That seems weirdly high to me. I'm just going to go 22 million, and I know that seems low. But
well, there we go. Gabby, you are going to pull away with a win because it was 101.2 million. So you went too low, but
still
Phil,
far
you went way
closer.
Too high.
Way too
Yes.
high. Way too high.
Way too high.
Well, Gabby, all's right in the world. You won in spite of David's faults. But
I do apologize.
Yes, you were plugging so beautifully. I believe not your Alabama short film, but a personal short film.
Yes, the film in Alabama was a feature not made by me.
I see.
Someone else. But I have an original short film that was my first film that I made, and it's on Amazon, and it's called Odette. And
how do you spell that?
It's spelled Odette, and it's about two bounty hunters who go to save a town from a curse. And also, I just shot a play for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and it's going to be virtual this year, so you can watch it. There's tickets at myhouseplay.com, and I play 1960s screen actress Yvonne Romaine. And
yes, one of my favorites.
Yes, no one knows who she is. She quit acting very soon after our story takes place.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Gabby. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Always, and we're gonna have you back as soon as the next time you're available on a Sunday when we record. And and everyone go check out Odette on Amazon Prime. I don't think it's available on Amazon Prime here, so you're gonna have to send me a copy, Gabby.
Oh, you know what? It's probably not. I think it's only available in English-speaking markets. So, yeah. I'll have to send it to you. I don't think it exists anywhere else other than Amazon. Well, I have it on a hard drive, of course.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
We thank you, Gabby, and we move along after these scores. And with that, we are both losers, baby. And that brings me down to a record of 7-13. And David to an odd record of 9-11.
You know, I love to scat along with you, Jake. If you ever need an a cappella group to sing alongside you, I'm a one-man band. Anyways, speaking of bands, we are going to be talking about That Slaps. And of course, this is things that we find entertaining or entertainment of the week that we have either discovered or, in my case, which I'll start us off, have something to do with the topic. And with the main topic of this week's podcast being collections, the only collection I could really think of, I know that there's probably others that people are going to be screaming at their iPhone or at their Android about for me not remembering. But for me, the number one thing that I come across when I'm thinking of music is the Disney collection. I believe I mentioned this last week or a couple weeks before when we talked about music. And one of my favorite songs within the Disney collection that I just love is Strangers Like Me by Phil Collins. I've heard the complaints. I understand that people say if you've heard one Phil Collins song, you've heard them all. I get it. I can understand where that's coming from. But at the same time, I still love it. I love me some Phil Collins. I want to know, can you show me? God, I love it. I love it so much. Strangers Like Me, that slaps.
Very, very good. Very, very good, Phil. I love it. This one comes from a friend of mine who showed me this song about a year ago, more than a year ago, like a year and a half ago. when we moved in together. You know who you are. This one goes to you, buddy. It's called Disconnected. It's by Keen. Great band. Great song. Check it out. It slaps.
All right, before we end this episode and put a bow on our collection of episodes, we want to thank you, the listener, first of all. Thank you for sticking around with us, hopefully for all 25 episodes. If you have not listened to all of them, we urge you, we implore you, we ask you, go ahead and listen to all the other ones. We got a few more coming up at least. We got one more in us at least. I mean, maybe two, who knows? We'll see how long it lasts. But we'd like to thank you, the listener, first of all. But we'd also like to thank, of course, Tara Amstutz for her wonderful graphic designs, as well as Josh Hans for his wonderful musical interludes in between some of the segments here. We'll be getting more and more as we go along. Thank you to both of you.
And to Cass and Crossland and Jake Corlang for the music that you hear on this show. We couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you.
And again, thank you to the listener. Make sure that if you are listening to us, you subscribe to us as well. Please, helps our numbers and helps you get access to our show easier and easier, whether that be on Apple Podcasts, whether that be on Spotify Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, except for Pandora. Screw you, Pandora.
And follow us on Instagram at POWWOW_podcast. If you're getting attacked by a bear, always go for the bollocks.